So welcome you all to MES e-learning channel. We are going to discuss about restriction fragment length polymorphism. So RFLP, it is a molecular marker. So we all know that we are made up of DNA. So any organism if you take, they comprise of either DNA or RNA. So we being in a human being, we have DNA as our genetic material. So when you see DNA, the DNA is made up of some sequences. We have nucleotides, okay, some sequencing are there. We all look different. Why? Because there is some sort of a variation, in the DNA is the reason why we are not exactly looking like each other. So there is this sequencing, specific sequence or specific site in the DNA which helps us to analyze or to detect or to see the variations among the organisms or the species. So today we talk about, we are going to talk about restriction fragment length polymorphism, which is a molecular marker. So in order to identify the variations in the DNA, we see the sequences, and the sequences is being fragmented using an enzyme which is called as restriction enzyme. So restriction digestion also we call it as, the process to digest these DNA with an enzyme is called as restriction digestion. So there is a specific enzyme, we call them as molecular cutters also. Basically they act as molecular scissors, okay, like we cut with a scissor, exactly we use an enzyme to cut the DNA. So we all know that if suppose we have a mixture of DNA we have, in order to identify a specific DNA, we will be able to, this particular molecular marker or this technique will be enabling us to identify the variations, okay. So the uniqueness in this technique is the restriction site that is present in a particular DNA. So every particular DNA has got something called as polymorphism. So polymorphism is what? Some sort of a variation, some sort of a changes. Now how this changes occurs, it could be due to mutations, it could be due to some some nucleotide additions, or it could be some nucleotide would be moving into the sequence moving, the nucleotides could be moving to the another sequencing, making changes in the sequencing. So these are called as polymorphism. So that is the reason why the uniqueness comes in due to these polymorphism. With the help of exactly this technique, we will be able to analyze a lot of things. That is what we are going to study today. So when you talk about the principle of RFLP, as I mentioned, the name itself suggests it is called as restriction digestion. So we have to use restriction enzymes. So the specific enzymes are present which will go and recognize. So this molecular scissor will go and recognize a specific site on the DNA, and that site will be cut with the help of these enzymes, okay. And the second point is polymorphism. As I mentioned, there are variations in the DNA, okay, not exactly, there would be some small changes in the DNA, that is what we call it as polymorphism, that could be occurring because of mutations like you can call it as some if UV radiations or some kind of environmental things like bacteria or viruses, this could give us some sort of a deletion, or it could be insertion, like a new nucleotide is being added into the sequence, making it bit different. So this is what is called as polymorphism. And then this DNA, once it is cut, once the DNA is cut, we will be getting the fragments. So this fragmented DNA we will be analyzing. As you can see in the picture, so there is this yellow tag that you can see, that is a specific region, okay, it is a kind of recognition. That means the enzyme will come and bind to that specific region only, and it will be cutting the DNA, making the DNA into pieces. So this step, so some steps has to be followed in order to identify, as I mentioned earlier. So if we have a mixture of sample with us, so we have to analyze a particular sample, okay. Then we can go ahead with these steps. The very first step is the DNA extraction. We would obviously require a sample, so DNA has to be extracted. If you take an example, suppose if you are going for varieties of rice. Suppose we are going to analyze variations in the rice. So what we have to do is we have to take out the DNA from these rice. So that is what is called as DNA extraction. Okay, it could be anything. If suppose if you want to check human beings, suppose there is some kind of genetic disorder if you see. So human blood can be taken, or suppose if you want to check for some kind of a animal breeding program, if you want to check those animals, varieties of animals, higher quality of animals, if we need to see, we can take those samples. We can take tissue sample, we can take blood samples, anything. So from there we are going to extract the DNA. The second step is, as I mentioned, DNA will be digested using restriction enzymes. Here I have given you some examples. EcoR1, BAMH1, HIN3 are few of the examples of these molecular cutters, or we call it as restriction enzyme. The third one is the gel electrophoresis. Now, as I mentioned, the DNA is being now cut into fragments. We will be getting some pieces of these DNA for the further analysis. So gel electrophoresis is nothing but it is a kind of separation technique on a matrix using electric current. The cut DNA can be run using this electric field. Depending upon the molecular size, these DNA will be run onto the matrix and we will be able to visualize the banding pattern. And the next step is, once we get this banding pattern, that is the result of what gel electrophoresis gives us, using this matrix we can do southern blotting. Like southern blotting is the technique that we do. It is nothing but we have to blot this DNA that we have got it, which is on the matrix, okay, gel matrix we call it as. So onto that we will put some nitrocellulose membrane, and onto those nitrocellulose membrane these DNA will be now adhered, okay. And there is a hybridization process. Hybridization process is we use a DNA probe. Now what do you mean by DNA probe? It is nothing but it is a smaller portion of DNA which will be having some sort of chemiluminescence. That means it will give you some colors. Now this small fragment of DNA, which we call it as DNA probe, will be now going and binding it to the DNA, that is the sample DNA, they will be going and binding it to them. Now once it is bound to our sample DNA, recognizing it, what will happen? We will be able to visualize it. Why? Because this probe is already labeled with the chemiluminescence substances, okay, like luminol and these are the chemiluminescent substances. With the help of autoradiograph, we will be able to see the picture and we will be able to analyze. Like for an example, if I tell you, suppose there is this genetic disorder that is happening in a particular family. Now there is a newborn baby that has come. If they want to check whether this particular disease is being inherited in that baby, we can do this simplified technique. Now how we can do? We can use the sample, reference sample as their father, mother or grandfather, grandmother. We can use their genes and then check whether this particular gene is present in that baby or no. So this kind of a comparison we will be able to do with that particular kind of that is RFLP technique. Now this is a diagrammatic explanation how we are going in a short manner that I have mentioned. The first thing is genomic DNA, we would require the sample DNA, so we are extracting it, we are running the gel electrophoresis and then we are blotting it on blotting paper, nitrocellulose membrane, and then it is exposed to X-ray films. Why X-ray film? We will be getting some colors, for that we are using DNA probe. I hope this is clear. So when you talk about the application of RFLP, so there is wide varieties of applications that I have mentioned over here. As this is a molecular marker, so this can help us to find out the traits. So we all know that if you talk about animal husbandry mein what is required is the higher quality. The more the quality of the particular animal, the more good quality of their byproduct, their products will be getting. Like for an example, milk, we will get meat products, etc., etc. So in order to see whether, to check whether these breeding, the meat that we are getting or the products that we are getting, that particular animal has to be a particular trait, that they should have certain particular qualities in them. so that we can analyze, or else we can go with pedigree analysis. As I just mentioned, we can go with the we can see the evolutionary patterns like genetic disorders that has been inherited from one generation to another generation, or if somebody is doing cross breeding, that is also being done. So all these analysis we can do with this particular marker. And disease resistance. So we all know that when you talk about animal husbandry, the prominent challenge that they face is their diseases. So these there are some genes that can be inserted in these animals, and they will be forever resisted towards particular disease. For an example, if you see cow, in cow you see mastitis is a kind of disease that you can see prominently. So we can insert these particular gene in order to get resistance. So that particular animal will not be having that particular disease which will be causing, and it may have a impact on the product. So we can check that. Also we can use conservation also. If suppose some particular type of plant sample or animal sample which we need for a longer period of time, if we want to conserve these genetic material, we can go with that also. So we can do the analysis, and we will check whether it is worth conserving these a particular genetic material, or suppose if some animal is under the verge of extinction, we can go with that also. We can go with this analysis. And evolutionary analysis we can do, as I just mentioned, what all changes that a particular organism go through. It could be due to some kind of a like what do you say, some disease resistance. Okay, for an example, if some disease were prominent from 2 generations, maybe the 3rd generation may have come across, and they may get a resistance automatically. So whether those kind of things are happening in these animals, that can be checked. We can see transgenic animal, as I mentioned, we have these genes, particular gene that can be inserted specifically. If I give you an example, insulin is something being used worldwide. So in order to get rid of for diabetes we use this insulin. So we can insert this gene which produces insulin in the animal, and that animal now will be able to produce insulin. Rather than taking the sample from the human being, we can go with the sampling with these animals as well. We can use bacteria also for that. So that is what you call it as transgenic animal. You are inserting some sort of good quality genes in them, and whether those are working. Not every time it is not necessary that if I am inserting a gene into an animal it has to be successful. No, that's not the case. Sometimes it may not, those genes may not be visible and they may not turn up as I wanted to. So in order to check whether it is a success or no, I can go with this RFLP technique for that. And meat adulteration, so we all know that there is a lot of the packaged meat that we get is being adulterated with other animals to check whether any sort of other animals are lower grade, or it is expired food materials is being mixed up with the material just to show up that it is a good quality meat. To check that, we can go with this technique again. So that was all about RFLP. Thank you.